Milo, is that you?
There, I think I got it. So, Derek, have you come up with a snappy opening yet?
No. I think we should, Linda Eskin, you put together an AI-generated jingle about Lionel the Overlord. I feel like we should play that on the way into our shows.
She did? I haven't seen that yet.
You haven't seen that? Oh, my goodness. Yeah, she posted it in Facebook about a week ago.
Oh, my God.
It's a country folk song about you talking to people about the hobby and you listening to people talk about the hobby.
It's us listening to others.
Exactly. That's right. We're not interesting, so we just sit back and let other people talk about the most interesting subject I know to talk about.
Listen to us listening to others.
Exactly.
There's Lionel listening for the past 10 years. Friends and guests and positive cheers. Stories of model railroaders on his podcast. A modeler's life. A modeler's life. A modeler's life. A modeler's life. A modeler's life.
So today's podcast, and I got a feeling this is going to be a 2-parter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this might be a 20-parter. But this will be the first 2 parts of the 37-part trilogy.
I think this is going to be at least 38 parts, not 37.
I was watching some old YouTube videos, Johnny Carson YouTube videos.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a show with Dom DeLuise and Burt Reynolds. Dom DeLuise came out first, and then Burt Reynolds. And it was just endless mayhem and carrying on. And I feel like this one's going to be endlessly entertaining.
Yeah, now a little behind the scenes, you were about 2 minutes late to our scheduled start time. And in the 2 minutes I was talking to these guys, I was having a blast. So that was a good warm up. And I know, if I enjoy the 2 minutes waiting on Lionel, I think we're going to enjoy the next couple hours podcasting.
Are we going to have a problem?
We already have a problem. We have our problems. Do we have a solution?
Yeah. I was listening to a few weeks ago now, I'm guessing about a month ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, I was listening to the Bill Ford podcast that we did. Mm-hmm. And it was the first time Bill had been on the podcast, and it was me and David Lund and Marcus Newbacher.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really interesting. Like everybody that you talk, if you put any effort into talking to somebody, everybody is interesting. It's not that hard to make people interesting, because all you got to do is ask questions. Now, these guys that we're going to talk to today, we got a million questions. So that's not going to be hard at all.
No, I think we could probably just get them from the green room, and we could probably just leave the studio.
Yeah.
Go down, get some sushi, and let them come back in a few hours and turn the microphone off.
Do you like sushi?
I love sushi. I prefer a poke bowl, though, honestly. I like the bowl form of it.
The what?
A poke bowl.
What is that?
It's a Hawaiian style fusion where imagine a bowl with rice and then sushi, or really sashimi, right? And then other various toppings all put together. It's quite delicious. So in my office building, there's a place downstairs, and it's like brown rice with sushi grade tuna with cucumbers and scallions and jalapenos and a couple of sauces. It's delicious stuff.
Do you know why fish can't play a musical instrument?
I don't.
Because you can't tune a fish.
Oh, man. Oh, no.
That's what we need to do, is an hour of dad jokes.
And we'll have about 3 minutes of listenership.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, no, I think dad jokes will play well with our audience.
I like dad jokes.
Yeah.
What did one hanger say to the other hanger? You go ahead. I'm just going to hang around.
Oh.
It's an old joke, but it's stale good.
It's yeah, we're gonna replace all of this with AI.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll get Linda Eskin to. It's not Erskine, it's Eskin.
Yep.
Apparently, there's somebody named Erskine Caldwell that's a singer or something. She told me, but we probably heard about that on the on her podcast, which I think is also played by now. All right, so we're gonna get these guys in here. Who do we have here today?
Okay. So this is a big podcast, Lionel. We've been waiting for this for a while. The audience has been asking about this for a while, but we're going to have Ryan and Tom from White Rose Hobbies.
Yes,
They're in the green room.
Yeah, and we had interviewed Ryan at one point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And this is I think our first time. We did an interview with Tom at Springfield. So if you're a member of the Patreon and you listen to the Springfield report episode, you probably heard Tom for a few minutes as well. But if you're not a Patreon member, and you should be, but if you're not, this will be the first chance you get to hear from Tom as well.
Yeah, I just opened their website at White Rose Nurseries. It's White Rose or White Rose Hobbies. We used to have, we still do, very big in our area, company called White Rose Nurseries. So if I say White Rose Nurseries on a semi-regular basis, that's because these guys were huge. They advertised on all the Toronto radio stations. They advertised on TV. They were huge, and it was White Rose Nurseries. So I have a tendency to say that instead of White Rose Hobbies. And their website is whiterosehobbies.com. And I opened it up, and on the very first page, that jumps right out at you, it goes, 125 years of Lionel. I guess they knew they were going to be on today. I think that's a bit of a, and they wanted to do something special.
Are you that old now?
Well, I didn't know Lionel was 125 years old. We're going to ask them that. Okay, yeah, ask them if they would come into the green room or see if they've already left after listening to the...
Yeah, we'll see if they're still hanging around, if they haven't run away yet.
Yeah.
Ryan, Tom, you guys there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to be on your podcast.
You're welcome.
Well, let's see if you want to thank us in an hour.
Yeah, let's say, how about we check back in an hour and see how you feel then? Who was that thanked me for the opportunity?
That was me.
Okay, and you are?
Tom.
Oh, hey, Tom. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I'm well. I'm well. Thanks for asking.
Okay. We've never actually met or talked.
I met you. You probably don't remember. I met you when you were here at our store for Tom's stock last summer.
Oh, that's right, too. Yeah, that's right. You were the pleasant guy.
Yes, the handsome, pleasant guy.
Yeah, the handsome guy. So, and we have Ryan, and your last name, Ryan, is?
Toman.
Toman. Thoman.
Yep, that's it.
All right. And Tom, your last name is?
Robinson. Robinson. Okay.
Could you take your license out of your wallet, please, sir?
Yeah. I don't have a license. It was confiscated.
What is this 125 years of Lionel? I didn't know Lionel was 125 years old.
Yeah, they this was their anniversary year, so they did a special, a bunch of special product releases, and the catalog was a little fancier this year because of that milestone.
Shop and pre-order items now. I didn't know it was born in 1900 exactly.
Yeah, and they've got I don't have a catalog right in front of me, but they have being the anniversary catalog, they have quite a nice layout, with the timeline of the whole company in there. And you can view the catalog on their website as well. They have the digital version.
Oh, really? And if you want if you want the printed version, do you have to pay for it?
They send them out to the hobby shops, and it's kind of up to the hobby shop. We give them out usually in the store, but we do list them for sale on the website if people want to order them to, help cover the cost of shipping and handling and all that stuff.
Okay, so how much would the catalog cost if somebody? Because it looks pretty fancy. Is it hard, or is that a book they've got there?
This one is, like I said, a little bit more special than normal with their they did like an embossed cover.
Yeah.
All that like paisley kind of design. It's actually like embossed on there, so it's pretty neat.
It really is kind of cool. So if somebody wanted to buy a Lionel catalog from White Rose Hobbies, how much would it cost them?
I'm looking right now because I forget how much I have them on there for.
Okay. You
Hey,
guys,
Lionel,
yeah.
you're priceless, though.
They're $5 on our website.
Is that
Yeah.
all?
Yeah, it's a good deal for 125 years worth of model trains.
That's a heck of a deal because Walther still sells their catalog, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah, we sell those as well. We're actually currently just ran out of them, but they're around $20, I think they go for.
And how many of those would you guys have gotten in to like Walther's catalogs? How many would you have got in to sell, if you don't mind me asking? Don't answer any questions you don't want to answer.
No, we actually have to buy them by the case, and I want to say there's at least a dozen or so in a case. It's at least a dozen. I forget because we get them once a year, and we didn't get them this year, and we had a lot of people asking us for them. So people do still want them. So we did end up getting a case in.
I was amazed when I used to my friend Jim Sacco, who owned City Classics. I discovered from him that the Walthers has the catalog, but if you're a manufacturer and you want your stuff in the catalog, you had to pay Walthers to get in the catalog. Did you guys know that?
Yeah.
I actually I was talking to a few other manufacturers about that, and I think it goes even deeper than that in some aspects. I think that they I'm not 100% sure, so I don't want to say, but I think there's more involved in the back end, like of Walters carrying your products. Like there's a lot of requirements that because I looked into it years ago because we at White Rose Hobbies had made a small AEI tag reader for like trackside. So on the real prototype trains, they all have little like RFID tags on each locomotive and each rail car. And working at the railroad, I went past these scanners every day. So I was like, oh, that'd be kind of a neat thing to make. And at the time, there wasn't any commercially produced. So we had one actually tooled up and everything. And I had sent them one like, hey, do you guys want to carry this product? And I got a little taste of, it's not that quite that easy at that point. So
Wow.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No, I had no idea.
And I heard a wow from Derek.
Yeah, I'm just, I guess everybody's in the industry to make money, but as a hobbyist, I worry if the distribution patterns for merchandise, like if we can't get the word out about cool stuff, is it going to disincentivize people from making cool stuff?
That's a good point. We're probably going to have to do like you guys. I hope you guys are prepared. You're going to be here for like several hours.
It's fine. I went to the bathroom right before, so you're good till supper time.
Well, as long as you didn't eat any of the shrimp in the green room, I forgot to warn him about those.
There you go. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because Ryan, you've already been on once. So it sounds like I'm asking a lot of questions other than the main subject we want to talk about. But you guys are really interesting. So unfortunately, you said, so let's recap. Ryan, you worked for the Norfolk Southern for a while.
Yeah. Yep. That's actually how me and Tom met.
Oh, because Tom, did you work there too?
Yeah, I hired when I was 18 years old. I was in high school and I really didn't know what I was going to do with my life. And my mom was like, she kept hearing these ads for Norfolk Southern on the radio. And she's like, you should just apply. So I was actually still in high school and I filled out an application and went to a job. They had a job fair, which should have been my first warning that like they can't get anyone to work there. So they're having like these giant job fairs. So I went and they're like, yeah. And this was like in May of my like senior year. And they're like, yeah, when can you start? Like, can you be in Georgia next week? I was like, well, I'm still in high school. And so I had to get like this form from my guidance counselor that said I was going to graduate because I didn't have a diploma yet. And like, it was like a notarized thing. And then I had to wait till I actually graduated. So I graduated high school on a Thursday. And the following Monday, I was in Georgia for conductor training.
Holy
for Norfolk
mackerel.
Southern.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
And
what year would that have been?
that was 2006,
Okay.
June of 2006. And railroad changed a lot since then. I was super grateful that Norfolk Southern took a chance on an 18-year-old kid. And yeah, it was a crazy experience. I mean, I always say, like, if we're down on money here at the shop, I should put a like cookie jar out and, like, $1 for railroad stories. They may be true or false, but give me $1, I'll give you a train story. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like, my first day ever on the railroad, there was a derailment in the yard I was working, and I was like, what is going on? Like, I knew very little about trains at all. And, like, my first day, like, not my train, but another train derailed. And then I don't know if you remember the Keening Summit wreck that happened in upstate Pennsylvania. That was like 3 days after I hired. And then right after that, there was another wreck in Hershey, right by Hershey Park, which involved a chlorine tanker. So, like, my first week and a half of railroad, I saw like 3 derailments, and I was like, what is going on? This is crazy. Like, yeah, because that was before social media. So now, like, if a train wrecks, everybody knows about it because somebody shares it in a group. But that was before all then. So I'm like, what? This is crazy. So it was fun, though. It was a great opportunity. And I transitioned to this, which is a lot better. But
that was like a mouthful right there.
yeah,
Holy
I know.
Mackerel.
So you worked on the railroad for how long?
so from 2006 to 2022, I guess it was that I quit.
Okay, so you did
Spring.
like 15.
Yeah, it was just
16
under
years.
just under 15 years, I guess.
Was that long enough to get vested in the pension system?
Yeah, I
Nice.
was. Yeah, I mean, I won't get like it's work crazy hours on the railroad, and I'm sure that there's some people that work for the railroad that are listening to this, and my heart goes out to you guys. You guys do an awesome job. It's a lot. It's a whole lifestyle. Being on call is crazy. You think, oh, well, I might get called for a first shift train, so you sleep the night before, then you're up all day, and the phone never rings, and then that night, you go to bed at like 10 o'clock, and as soon as you hit the bed, the phone rings, and now you got to go be on a train for 12 hours. So you end up being up for like 30 hours straight. That happens a lot in freight because nothing's scheduled. So I don't miss that. I don't miss working third shift. I worked in a yard that here in Lancaster, which is the next county over from the store. And it was mostly local freight, servicing industries, which is the most dangerous. If there's a derailment can happen, it's going to happen at an industry, which is what we did. It's also the most fun, but the most dangerous.
Yeah, I think when I was at Springfield, I was interviewing you guys, and I think it was you, Tom. I asked, and maybe it was Ryan. I'm sorry, but I asked one of you, what's the biggest difference between, or what keeps you up at night in running a hobby shop? And you said, well, nothing keeps me up at night because I'm not working on the railroad anymore. I'm not worried about dying from a train or having something bad happen, right? I thought that was just such a honest and brutal assessment of just how much risk is involved in that job. And like you said, my heart goes out to the professional railroaders out there because you're just dealing with massive stuff and dangerous stuff, and anything can happen.
Yeah. I mean, it's also was a lot of fun. But yeah, and railroading has gotten safer than it was, 100 years ago by a lot. But then they also cut the workforce. So now that it's safer, but less guys are doing more share of the work, which is prone to injury. But yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun. There's a lot of crazy things that happened to me that I've seen and would have never experienced had I not signed up to go work for Norfolk Southern.
Tom, were you into trains before you signed up at 18?
Not really. Like, we had the cliche Christmas train set, and a family friend was like a very amateur model railroader. So I kind of knew a little bit, but not to the extent of like what I know now, obviously, or being in the hobby. Now we have the hobby shop. When I hired, I thought I was like going to go see the country. Like I'd be like going coast to coast, like a truck driver or something. And that's not the case at all working for the railroad. So it was a very eye-opening experience.
So in 2006, Norfolk Southern train derailment in McKean County had a disastrous effects on the upper Sinemanging Creek watershed.
Yeah,
killing thousands of trout, bass, and other species. And anyways, there's a pit. So if you put in Keening Summit train wreck, there's all kinds of pages that'll come up about it.
That was a really bad train wreck. That creek, I don't know how to pronounce it. It was like one of the number one trout streams in Pennsylvania. And the car that ruptured was like the main chemical that's in Drano. And they said it turned vegetation into like goo. But that was like, my first, I wasn't involved on that railroad, that train, obviously, but it was all over, like it was everything everyone was talking about, in the office and on the train. So that was like my first week or so, something like that. I was right when I hired, and I was like, oh my gosh, what is going to happen?
40,000 gallons of liquid sodium hydroxide.
Yeah, that's bad.
That's not good.
A substance used for making soaps and detergents spilled from 3 rail cars into the wetlands and Big Phil Run. Wow.
Yeah.
So Ryan, when did you join the railroad?
So I joined in 2012.
Right. And so how long did you work for them before you went to White Rose Hobbies?
Well, that's the thing. Actually, White Rose Hobbies predated that. So I worked. I started.
Hang on. You started the store in your cupboard.
Pretty much, yeah. So, I had been working at MB Klein's in Maryland, and long story really short, wasn't going well for me there, and I started the shop like you said. It was kind of in the house in my brother's bedroom, and then moved to the store in our first retail store in East York, and I met a couple guys that worked for the railroad that were also model railroaders. And at the time, I could tell you for sure, you start a hobby shop, you are not going to be able to make a living immediately. It's a bit of a process. So I had been working all kinds of odd jobs and different things, and I was looking at, all my life, unlike Tom, I had been interested in the railroad, and I never once thought about that as an actual career for whatever reason. But these guys were pretty much, they all told me not to do it, but I needed the money at the time, so I thought it would be a neat thing to try to do, and I went to a few hiring sessions. I didn't get hired immediately, and you go to these hiring sessions and they're massive. They're a couple hundred people, at least at the time I went, and it thins out very as the day goes on. The crowd thins out significantly after they start over the job, what it entails. I think the I don't know if Tom remembers if you agree. I think the drug testing question. Then there's a bathroom break, and after that, I think you lose quite a bit of field.
It was pretty funny. There was probably 35 people in the hiring session that I was in, and they go over the job description and then say that they drug test and do a bathroom break, and like half of the people came back. Wow. So it probably went down to like 15. And that was my experience. So.
Yeah, and they I know touched on some of the dangerous stuff, but they do go over a lot of that stuff, and it is kind of scary. I mean, they tell you that likely you will kill somebody, whether it's a grade crossing accident or something else. Like, it's pretty serious, like, to hear that. And it is a real part of the job. I mean, luckily I hadn't dealt with any of that in my career. But I know people that hired after me, that were younger in seniority, that had less time, that ended up having to deal with some of that kind of stuff. So it is a very real part of the job, unfortunately. And like Tom said, it's a little easier to sleep now that we're not doing that on a day-to-day basis. And I do still do some railroading for a short line. This is kind of a newer development since I spoke last with you guys. But I'm working kind of like on call, a few times a month kind of a deal for a short line. And it's called the Columbia in Reading. It's over Lancaster County, right across the river from York here. and it's just a small 2 mile operation. Primarily, we spot and do propane tank cars for transloading. Currently, that's all we're really getting into, but kind of scratches the itch that I still want to be a railroader. So we have a little Alco S2 switcher that we putz around with, so it's pretty neat.
Yeah, I found it, the Columbia and Reading Railroad. So how did you end up working for them? Jesus, Murphy, you guys are like way too interesting.
Well,
okay, hang on. Before we get much farther, let's make sure everybody understands. The main reason we're here is to talk about the Flying Yankee that you guys are going to produce, right? You're going to try to produce the Flying Yankee, is that correct?
Yeah, so that's in the works.
All right. So
we had
we'll get back to that.
All right.
Because some of this stuff will end up on the Patreon channel, because that's really interesting. So actually, let's go to the Flying Yankee now, and then we'll come back to you're working for the Columbia and Reading Railroad, and I got a bunch of questions for you, Tom, about what we were talking about there. So you guys, unfortunately, we only do hour-long episodes now, which is good in some ways and bad in others, because we've already chewed up like 25 minutes of airtime. And this is on the free channel, and I know you guys are trying. You guys are going to like make a Flying Yankee. Is that what I'm to understand?
Yeah. So Derek got to see the prototype at Springfield back in the end of January, and we got some feedback, which is part of the reason we wanted to show it off. And these Boston and Maine guys are pretty hardcore, especially on some of the special pieces that railroad had, like the Flying Yankee. And after Saturday, after the show, the Boston and Maine Historical Society has like a meeting in the one of the hotel lobbies, kind of like how you guys do at the pizza party. And so I was invited to that, and the guy that I'm working with on Dave McMullian, the designer that it's doing this project, we went to the meeting, and they had a good amount of people at the meeting, but they also had it set up on Zoom, so they had people all across the country that are into the Boston and Maine. We're on this big Zoom call, and people that were at the meeting could bring models to display at the meeting, and everyone got a chance to go around and talk about their models, what they they modified them, or scratch built or whatever. It was very interesting. But when it was our turn, kind of went on longer than some of the other ones, but the guys were really, really interested, and we were learning stuff about this train. We're a year and a half into development that we didn't quite know apparently every detail. And for example,
you didn't know every detail of making a kit, or you didn't know every detail of the Flying Yankee
of the actual prototype. So it's hard to find videos and stuff of how the train sounded, what the horn sounded like, and what kind of bell did it have and stuff like that, because a lot of the early video footage, it was the late 30s, early 40s, it was they didn't record the sound a lot of times, so there's some video but not a good sound file. And we had learned that the original Flying Yankee had like a fire engine siren as part of the horn. And during the Zoom call, one of the guys there, I forget his name offhand, he was a pretty resourceful guy. He was like answering a lot of questions, and he had put up on his screen a picture of the fire engine siren that's in the top of the Flying Yankee. So now, we learned about that, and some of the other revisions that we've made since then, because we got to meet with those guys. And coincidentally, the real Flying Yankee still exists, and it just got moved from New Hampshire, where it was, to now it's at the Conway Scenic Railroad, and they're actually fully working on restoring the real one back to operation.
Okay,
So we got them
let me ask you a question.
with some of those guys. We have been working with some of them, but we met some new people and got some new information. So we actually have made some revisions to the model. So it's setting back the timeline slightly, but I think people understand and be much happier with the end product.
So how did you guys end up deciding to do this? Like, did Tom, did you wake up, bolt upright one day in bed and go, we need to build the Flying Yankee in HO scale?
No, that's not at all what happened. What happened was...
Or let me take another guess. You were bending under the counter to get somebody a 125 years of Lionel catalog, and you slammed your head into the counter. And when you stood up straight, you turned to Ryan and said, we need to build the Flying Yankee in HO scale.
Yeah, no, that's more realistic to what happened. But actually what happened was Ryan's like, I want to buy BCW. And I was like, okay, well, how do we make that work financially? And Ryan was very persistent. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not talking him out of BCW. I guess we're going to own it. So we have to make it productive. And he came up with the Flying Yankee idea. And I think it's awesome. And the fact that we're White Rose Hobbies, but we're also BCW and a small, nimble company, we can focus on these niche products that, Athearn would never be able to do, but we can do that. And we can bring those things to market to further the model railroading community.
So BCW is the British Columbia Waste and Water Supply Company?
Yes, also known as Bethlehem Car Works. Yeah, they go both ways. Yeah.
I'm not sure you've listened to the podcast, all of the podcasts, and some of them twice, but we don't really do acronyms that much here.
Oh, okay.
Because there's people listening to this podcast that have never heard of you guys. We'll boost this one a little bit on Facebook, so it'll be people that have never even heard of you guys, and they'll be like, what's a BCW? And the BCW is Bethlehem Car Works, which you guys purchased, a couple of years ago now?
Just 1 year ago.
Really?
January of 24. Literally 3 weeks before Springfield last year.
Oh, that's right. And then you had to sort through all the stuff because what was the fella's name that owned it?
John Green. Yeah, a lot of people in the hobby know John Green from Springfield, from various RPM meets. And the company, he had started it in the 80s. So it's been around for a while. Okay,
so you've owned the company now just short of a year and a half, like a year and 4 months or something like that. And I remember at the time you was like, Ryan, you were telling us there was this huge mass of inventory that you had to sort through. And has that gotten any better?
Yeah, it has been better, but it's still a lot.
Okay. So you're still working on getting there. You know what, Derek? It's a good thing we're talking to these guys.
I agree.
Yeah, and you know why?
I don't know why.
We're going to be able to give them some fatherly advice as they go forward.
I think I'm younger than them.
Well, yeah, but you can still give fatherly advice.
Okay.
Yeah, trust me.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
You know what? It's all smoke and mirrors, buddy.
Okay. That's fair.
It's a clipboard and a confident wave.
To give fatherly advice, do I have to tell dad jokes? I don't think I know any dad jokes.
There you go. But it's a clipboard and don't get me started on the time I snuck into the pits at Daytona. It's all about a you never break stride when you're going through a gate, when you're sneaking into some place. You never break stride. That's the key. You have to look like you're going somewhere. Don't bother me, buddy. I'm not showing you my credentials. I got to get somewhere. I'm late, and I've got to get some. Don't stop me. I'm telling you right now. You stop me, and we're going to have a problem. That's got to be the look on your face, and you got to be walking with that kind of. So the fatherly advice we're going to give these guys is they're a year and 4 months into buying Bethlehem Car Works, BCW. And then now they're already starting they're going to build the Flying Yankee. And I'm thinking, boys, shouldn't we kind of get Bethlehem Car Works sorted out before we start building the Flying Yankee? But sounds like these guys are very excited about doing this, so we'll investigate it even further.
Type in the order number.
Yeah, it sounds to me like the Flying Yankee is what's going to put Bethlehem Car Works, a division of White Rose Hobbies, on the map.
Good
like
point.
This is the banner project.
So to protect the Flying Yankee is an important piece of New England's railroad history. Restoring the Flying Yankee to operational condition, which with as much of the original configuration intact as feasible, to make it. This is from the Flying Yankee Association. Do you guys belong to the Flying Yankee Association?
So, actually, I I should, but we do work with. We have worked with them, but I do not officially belong. Which actually, I'm going to sign up. I'll sign up to do my part. But we are working with them as far as, for example, we're going to put their information in the kits. So when people get a Flying Yankee kit, they'll get a pamphlet, about the association. So they'll, kind of cross promote that way.
Yeah, it's for $40 a year. The basic membership includes the opportunity to join the restoration team as a volunteer, Flying Yankee newsletter, email notices of news and events prior to public release. There you go. And the family membership is only $60 a year. The Cheshire gives you the annual Flying Yankee special decal and bumper sticker, and 10% off at the online gift shop. That's $100 a year. And then there's the Mountaineer and the Flying Yankee ones that they get. Wow, the Flying Yankee membership includes benefits of all the others. It's $500 a year. You get a commemorative hat, your name or family name displayed in our newsletter and on signs at our restoration shop events. Your name, well, this would be perfect for you guys for White Rose Hobbies. Your name or family name engraved on a granite brick on our restoration shop grounds.
I can't believe this is brilliant of Ryan and Tom to make a model of a train that was popular enough to have not just a historical society for the railroad, but a preservation society for it right now. Like, it seems like the confluence of events where it's now at the Conway Scenic Railroad and they're going to be restoring it and displaying it. Like, it just seems like perfect timing for you guys to deliver a really cool model of this thing.
Yeah, it was sort of coincidental that it kind of fell together that way. And I got to go back a little to the Flying Yankee was sort of in the works before we bought the company, but it had kind of fizzled out when John passed away. Unfortunately, I had some samples of it, as I was going through, the thousands of parts that are in the room I'm sitting in now. And I'm like, what? Like, honestly, I thought at first I picked it up. I was like, oh, this is like the Burlington Zephyr. I didn't even know what it was right offhand. And then I found, as I was going through more of the files and things, I found that, this was a thought of, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, this thing is awesome. I want to make this for sure. So I started reaching out and finding out, who he was working with on the project, stuff like that. And there was, a chance that it wasn't going to happen. And I got everything back on track to keep this as a Bethlehem Carworks project.
So wait a second. You bought Bethlehem Carworks. They had this in development, but you didn't know that it was in development, and you literally picked up a piece of sample, and that's how you figured it out.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things that had been in development, and some still are, but unfortunately, the whole thing did not go as planned. I mean, John Green approached me about, buying the company, and we talked very, very little initially. And then he unfortunately got sick and ended up passing away kind of in the middle of the whole process. So I was originally planning to work with him, for a few years, to take this all on, and kind of went in completely blind as far as what's going on with things. I just had to kind of start doing a lot of detective work, and luckily I was able to get in some of his older emails to kind of see what some of the things were that were going on, but some things have completely fallen through the cracks for sure, unfortunately.
What incredible luck.
I know. But okay, do you guys feel like you're getting overwhelmed? But this seems like a huge, not a huge project. Let's use the right words. This seems like a pretty big undertaking to do this properly. And do you guys feel like it's kind of overwhelming, or are you happy that you're doing it? Or like after you did
No,
that, after the Saturday night at Springfield, were you guys all geared up on Sunday? Like, we can hardly wait to get this done.
no, you're right. I mean, overwhelming is for sure because we still have a lot of other things going on and keeping the shop running. And I'll be honest, I have not been able to devote as much time to Bethlehem Car Works as it deserves and that I want to. But luckily, there's a few people that behind the scenes doing some of the design work and things like that are really helping keep things going. Because we do have big plans. Like hopefully it becomes more of something that is a couple people's full-time job, producing different model kits. That's what I want to happen. So we just have to get through this initial period learning curve of how it all works. And, we do want to grow it in the future. We have a lot of ideas for new kits. And as far as getting some of the older kits retooled, so to speak, so that, there's a lot of projects he did over the past 30 years that people are asking me about doing again. But unfortunately, it's not something that can happen overnight. It's, it's going to take some time to rehash through some of the projects and, adapt them. I mean, we have a lot of the parts from these kits from the past 30 years, but do I want to put out the same thing that's, was put out in 1985, or do I want to take more time, revise it, kind of bring it up to date so it's more on par with models that are coming out today? So there's a lot that goes on that it is overwhelming for sure. I'd agree with that 100%.
Yeah, that's a predicament, because if you put out this like crown jewel Flying Yankee, you don't want to dilute your brand with a 40-year-old kit of something either, right? So like there's a bit of a dilemma for you there. But like, I guess I think in 5 years, Lionel, we're going to be hearing a lot about Bethlehem Car Works like as a major going concern in the industry, because you guys are just persistent and you're lucky and you're really earnest. Like, how many manufacturers today would actually go to the B&M meeting and show the model, be vulnerable enough to ask for help, and then sit there and accept that kind of feedback? Like, I just think you guys are doing it the right way, and you deserve a lot of credit for what you've undertaken.
Well, and I think the fun thing about this podcast is like discovering and having Ryan and Tom on the podcast, because to me, it feels like the next I got questions I want to ask, but to me, it feels like the hobby's just getting started. It's on the verge of exploding, because these guys are excited about building a Flying Yankee, and with the machining and tools that are available to people today, I mean, you can only imagine what a spectacular model this is going to be. And I mean, what a great idea. And it's such a unique. Okay, so let me ask you guys, like, what kind of response have you had? Like, have you had people, putting down, you can pre-order it without, I think there's basically no money involved. So have you had a lot of people doing pre-orders?
Yeah, we're like kind of right where I was expecting to be with that, actually, as far as how many I thought initially we would sell. And it's kind of funny. We, like you said, we don't take money down, but we actually had a guy at Springfield. He wanted to pay in full right away because he wanted to be the first one to get this thing. He was already upset that he wasn't the first one on the pre-order list, but he wanted to make sure he was the first one that paid for it. So it was pretty neat that people are that passionate about getting one.
So it's going to be in kit form, is it?
Yeah, it's going to be offered in 2 packages, basically. So it'll be the straight DC version, and you'll get the 3-car train set, you'll get the motor and the power truck that we were able to work with Bowser to obtain that. And we include the basic, all the parts, all the interior pieces and everything like that. The modeler will have to get their own paint and stuff like that. But we are also going to be, since we are a full hobby shop, we have the benefit of that. We're going to offer a package that is basically everything you need to paint this thing properly. So we'll have that available. And then there's a second package that comes with everything I just mentioned, and also includes a sound decoder and a lighting package, which was a custom design lighting package from Model Train Technology. They're down in Florida, and they custom, we sent them samples of the body, and or maybe just the dimensions. I forget exactly how that part went down, but they made these circuit boards that were designed just for this model. So they're each car, the power car and the coach and the tail car, all have a lighting board with there's the wiring. There'll be plugs between each car to continue the power on through the whole train. And they so we worked with a lot of different companies to make this all happen. So
how did you find Model Train Technology? Because I stumbled across them a little while ago, just I don't know how, and he had this speed stick that I was like, well, that's kind of cool. So how did you guys find Model Train Technology?
So the designer that did the tooling work, for lack of a better term, for the Flying Yankee had done some personal projects in the past for lighting some different passenger cars, and he was familiar with him already and had worked with him on some projects in the past. So we got him on this project, and the lighting, I was really happy with how that came out. If you there's a video if you search on YouTube, Bethlehem Car Works Flying Yankee, you can see the lighting, and I was happy with it because a lot of the factory lighting that comes in, like a Walthers passenger car, for example, to me, it just doesn't look natural. It's got like a bluish tint to it or something like that. And the lighting in this thing came out how I was hoping. Came out really nice.
I know. I'm looking at the video right now, and it looks so cool. I have no reason to have one of these, and yet I so desperately want to buy one and build one.
Yeah, and so is there I'm assuming, does it come with a motor mounted on a frame? Like, is there a frame for it? Like,
yeah. So each car kind of has a chassis, we'll call it, that slides into the main body. Like I said, putting this thing together is going to be a breeze. It's actually the decoration is going to be the most tedious. But yeah, we designed the motor mount in the power car to fit this motor in, and we worked with Lee at Bowser to get a certain size drive shaft and everything that he had for other projects. But we took kind of a drive shaft from this engine that he made, and the motor from this engine that he made, and the truck from this engine, and we kind of got it all to work perfectly for what we needed. And we designed our own side frames for the truck. So but it all worked out very well using those combinations.
So there is like okay, I consider myself an average modeler. Nothing spectacular. I can, paint locomotives and letter them and, put together car kits or structures. I'm an average model railroader at best. So can an average guy, like, it comes with a frame and the trucks are already mounted, or do you have to mount the trucks to the frame and all that?
You do, but it's really no different than it's simply screwing them in just like on any other model. The kit itself, I would say, as far as keeping the painting aside, would be high beginner to maybe intermediate. It's really not going to be a difficult build. The decoration is going to be and that's the thing. You could do it. You can paint the interior one color and be happy with it if that's what you're happy with, or you can detail it down to the steel on the chair versus the leather on the chair. I mean, it's up to you how far you want to take it. Yeah.
And how long do you think it'll be before you have one where, like, when Derek, when you say you saw the prototype, like, in what condition was it?
I mean, it looked ready for me to buy and take it home with me, honestly.
Like, was it in gray plastic kind of thing?
Guys, refresh my memory. I thought it was lettered, wasn't it?
So we had like as it would come out of the printer, like sitting there on the table, so you could see how you're going to get this kit. But we had the one that was running around was fully done and painted, and it was basically completely ready to go.
Okay, now I'm annoyed with both Ryan and Tom. Now, Derek, this is where we come up with fatherly advice.
Okay.
Because if they've got one that was running around the track at Springfield, why are there not any photos on the website of this particular train?
So you got me. You did get me there. I actually posted them on.
Is your name Derek?
No, it is not.
No, I'm speaking with Derek right now.
I think what they haven't said explicitly, Lionel, but I think that, if I could read the tea leaves a little bit, they were saving the world release for this podcast. They wanted you to have the exclusive coverage rights for the press release here. So my guess is when the podcast comes out, there will be photos on the website and there will be plenty of media coverage, but they wanted AML to be the leader on this.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's the trick. Yeah, they're gonna put photos up when the podcast comes out. Yeah.
Ryan, Tom, I got that right, correct?
Yeah, you read us like a book.
Yeah.
So you got to get some photos up because I'm looking at the page. I mean, you guys, whiterosehobbies.com has a great website, very easy to use. I was able to just type in on this. That's the one thing. I'm very proud of you boys because your website works pretty good. I was able to type in the search bar Flying Yankee and boom, I went right to Flying Yankee. So that's huge because I hate it when you go to a website and you go to search something or whatever and you can't find stuff. I don't know if I see you guys have a blog. Here's one thing I'm going to tell you about blogs. I hate blogs. I think blogs are like the pimple on the butt of society. It's like everybody's blog. The only two people I know whose blogs are so far that I have met, whose blogs have some sort of up-to-dateness, are Chris Adams and Dave Abeles. Their blogs seem to add to their blogs. Most people's blogs seem to have died around the end of 2023 or 2022. And I notice on your White Rose ones, the last entry is January 12th, 2024. That's a year ago, for God's sakes. And then on your RC one, it's like the future remote control, October 27th, 2023. Have you guys been sleeping since then or what's going on? See,
we've been working on the Flying Yankee, so we don't have time to blog.
Exactly. Blogs are like, I don't understand blogs. I don't know why people have blogs. It's a curse. It's a curse to the internet. I think they were great at their time, but it's like email. Email's so yesterday. Okay, that's it. We're out of time for this particular podcast. Derek, can you give out our email address?
I can.
Okay.
Yes. If you would like to email us, you can email us at modelerslife@gmail.com. That's modeler with one L, like the Flying Yankee, not two L's, like Lionel's 125th anniversary.
And if you didn't catch that email address, you can go to our website and click on a picture of the moderately agitated mailboy in particularly agitated state. And email will come up and you just fill in your text and your subject. And we like to get email, both pro and con. And lately we got a few cons. So that's cool. And we like them all. And if, let's see what else. Oh, yeah. And if you like this podcast, which is on our free channel, you can see the AML Nation. You can join it for free. You can listen to a Monday podcast for free. You can join our Fans of the AML Facebook page, which is a great discussion group. It's free. You can just join for free if you want. If you don't want to commit to any financial outlay. But if you like this podcast and you like twice as much of this every week for just a few cents a day, you can go to our Patreon link and boom, you can get podcasting on Tuesday. Now, are you gentlemen available to do another hour or so that we can? It'll be today is free, and tomorrow, if people want to listen to the Patreon channel, they can talk. We'll talk over there too.
Yeah, I'm good to go, man. Like I said, you got me till dinner time. I went to the bathroom and I didn't eat the shrimp in the green room. So
all right, you're good. All right. So and on our Patreon channel, it's a little more homey, a little more earthy, kind of like Andy and Barney after having one of Aunt Bee's famous dinners, sitting on the back porch, just talking and discussing life. And then if you go to the $10 level, the T-shirt level, then you're entered into the game that's sweeping the globe. Hey, dude, where's my shirt? Because if you're at the $10 level, you get a T-shirt that's only available to Patreon members. And that's cool because people like those. And the question is, the guy that sends out the shirts is less than reliable. He's dedicated, not necessarily reliable. All the shirts go out. You're just not sure when you're going to get your shirt. Although
he means well.
Although we are catching up, we have a new system where things are actually improving dramatically, and I feel that within the game will never die, but I feel like pretty quickly there's not going to be that many contestants in the game. That will run down.
Well, but I feel like the problem is you'll get caught up, but in around 11 months you're going to have your work cut out for you because we've had so many new Patreon members join here recently.
That's true. We did have a bunch of Patreon members join recently, so that's cool. All right. So that's it. We're done. This is going to be an episode. So one of you guys, and Tom is new. Ryan has been on the show. So Tom, this is going to be your job and your job specifically.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Let me write this down.
Yeah, write this down. So at the appropriate moment, we need you to say, "Happy Rails to you." I think what we'll do is we'll entitle this episode, episode number 260 or whatever it is, 259, 261, whatever it is, the Flying Yankee. And then people will be able to listen to it from there. And so at the appropriate moment, we're going to need you to say "Happy Rails to you." Now, the key to this is there's no singing, there's no dancing, there's no interpretation of any kind. We just need you to enthusiastically say "Happy Rails to you." Do you think you can?
Should I say it now? Happy Rails to you?
No, it's not the appropriate moment.
How will I know when it's the appropriate moment?
You'll know. Trust me. If you worked on the railroad for 15 years, you'll know. As the car gets closer and closer to being coupled up, you know, your signals to the engineer are you're getting 5 feet, 3 feet, like that. You'll know.
Okay. Right. I'm ready.
All right. Well, Tom, as we close the barn doors on another episode of A Modeler's Life, and the sun slowly sets over the back 40, I guess there's nothing else left to do except for you to say,
"Happy Rails to you."
While in Busted Knuckle, guests of A Modeler's Life podcast stay at the Casa del Sol Motor Court and Inn, where late night dancing at the Rumba Room is a magical event to be experienced.
It's another Lincoln Homer.
That was beautiful.
That was great. He nailed it.
He had some excitement in his voice, but he didn't go over the top.
I was excited for him.
Yes. Ryan, were you excited for him?
I was, because I knew he was going to screw it up. but I think he did a good job. It came out good.